Hey, everybody. Welcome in to Rocket City Reseller Presents Launchpad. I am joined by some of the most legendary resellers in the business today. I have some co hosts along the way. Tennessee Treasures Ellie is in the house. And we have She Shed 244 from Whatnot Acclaim. And Ashley, we appreciate you being a co host as well. We're also joined by Marcy, Small Town Girls Shop. Woo, woo. She's a reseller out of the Nashville area, and she's been kind enough to join us on today's podcast. We can't say enough about how much we love Marcy. We ran into her. Oh, has it been about a year now? Or maybe a little bit over a year?
I think so. We met at the reseller meetup.
Yeah, I remember that we met at the reseller meetup, but before that, we actually ran into each other, I think, maybe at the bins, as my wife screamed out about her Jellycat finds. And she's like, "Hey, are you?" I was like, "Yeah, we are." And then, so from there, it was just a legend in the making. So we appreciate you coming in. We're going to talk about our week in reselling, Marcy, and we're going to start with Ashley and see what she's got going on. And we'll go around the horn and we'll ask you about your week in reselling and see what that was like. So, Ashley, what's going on with you? She had 244 Whatnot Queen.
So I've been trying to list on the drop sites. So that has been successful, swapping those out. For those of you that don't know, drop sites are it's like Facebook Marketplace, except for it's a small group. And it's kind of like an online garage sale where you post stuff and people just put want. You'll take that item to a shop. You have 2 weeks to drop it off. They have 2 weeks to pick it up. And you never really see the person. It's done.
I like that part.
Yes, that part is amazing. Not going in the creepy neck of the woods to go find so-and-so's house. But so I've been doing that.
Not getting on a live inside of Dollar General would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So trying to post more for this week on Whatnot. Big shows this week, Plush and Toy Ray Train with Gulf Coast Pickers on Wednesday, and then Vintage Plush and Toy Ray Train with Gulf Coast Pickers on Friday, and then Nonstop Nostalgia is this Thursday. Favorite Ray Train, hosted by Kaylee Grin. Amazing time. So that, and then I did a little bit of shopping today. So I got found some vintage Valentines, new old stock, and some plush. So that was fun.
Timely.
So that's about it this week.
Yeah, very timely. It sounds like you've been having an exciting weekend, and also it looks like you have a lot going on this week. That's awesome. What about you, Ellie? What's going on, Tennessee Treasures? How's things going?
It's been a lot of listing for me. A lot of listing. I've been trying to get stuff on eBay. I know.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to get those numbers up and those sales going. I haven't had any eBay sales this week. That's okay. I started off strong. I did a Whatnot show last night after having to cancel the Ray Train Saturday night. My internet just flared up and that didn't work out in my favor. So I did a pop-up for myself last night and I made about $90 in 2 hours, an hour and a half, something like that. So
I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. That's what Whatnot can do, folks.
Yes. I definitely need to be more consistent, but this week we've got a couple Ray Trains as well. So working towards those and just listing. I was very tempted to go thrift today and I didn't.
Self-control is a definite thing. It's hard,
I wish that I would have, but I didn't.
that FOMO, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was a live streaming camera from the thrift store. Hey, hear me out. We'll live stream from that way we can kind of watch the cameras and say, oh, well, they put out a rotation. I need to get down there. Anyways. So, Marcy, what's your reselling week been like? What do you got going on?
Trying to be consistent with my listing. That was one of the things I've been learning is to try to stay consistent since I'm only doing eBay currently. I'm trying to list like every day if I can, even if it's just a few things. And the sales have been a little more consistent since I've done that. So I have seen it definitely work. I don't know how that works with it. I don't promote right now, but it doesn't seem to be hurting me. So to not promote, and then I can keep every penny, for myself.
Nothing wrong with that. Get
like
out of
you
my
said,
pocket, eBay.
I saw someone's reel. I don't know if it was yours, that posted it. It was funny, and I was like you just said, Bob, the FOMO is real. You're like, you see someone posting a bins thing, you're like, I want to be there right now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so bad. That's so
All the
toxic.
topics in my garage. So
I think on all of our bands, right?
Yes, we're all there.
Meanwhile, that death pile's looking at you like,
yeah,
really?
yeah. Exactly.
Well, you've been cracking me up with your content, Marcy, with the bins posts, and hey, those are they're so funny.
I started
you guys
finding those funny templates in CapCut, and I was like, you know what? The humor is what everyone can just like relate to that, and if you just make it kind of funny, because I mean, we all kind of think that way, right? Sometimes,
Yes.
and those things just crack me up, and I'm like, if it's making me laugh, it's gonna make someone else laugh, and it's just fun to add those. So I just started making those because they're just cracking me up.
Me too.
I love that. I love content creation. Not very good at it. I'm trying. It's something that I enjoy as a hobby, I think, more so. I like the creative nature of it. Also the helping part, because that's part of why we started this podcast, is to try to like promote other sellers, promote our businesses as well. We want to grow in 2026. That's really the point of this podcast. We want to highlight businesses like yours that you're out there, you're doing the hustle, and we'll get into the reasons of why that is here in a second. We'll talk about your background and things like that. But yeah, that's kind of the point. So my social media presence right now is about paying it forward, because there's a lot of things that happen along the way in our reselling career, we'll call it, that was really timely, and we met a lot of great people and a lot of connections along the way, and we made a lot of mistakes and failed fast and failed forward, all the things. So I'm just trying to like push that and pay it forward to the community, and also new resellers coming into the mix, because I think it's super important to be a community, and it's really timely, I think, for me anyways, along my journey. So Marcy, let's talk about you, if you want to like give people a little bit of background information about what encompasses Marcy.
Okay. So what encompasses Marcy, or how I got started with this, or
well, if you want, because a lot of times it's a gray area, right? Like a lot of times we just want to talk about how you got into reselling. But we could talk about that first if you want, and then we'll talk about the reasons why, because there's usually, besides money, there's usually another reason that's driving it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So honestly, I have to go back to my roots. And my mom, she would thrift store. Like, growing up, she would not like all the time, like she thrifts more now than she did when we were growing up. But like back in the day, I grew up in the 80s. So it was like kind of almost a thing of, embarrassment back then if you were like wearing thrifted clothes. Like today's kids, you guys all go to the bins and stuff. It's all the young people. It's the hippest thing ever. Nobody cares that it's used. They think it's awesome. But when we were growing up, it was the opposite. It was kind of like that was what the poor people bought, used clothing, that kind of thing. But if you were just thrifty in nature, you realize you could find stuff, nice stuff, the stuff that was like trendy or whatever, and you wouldn't have to go pay the mall prices. So my mom, she was the one that kind of did it first. So I have to give her the credit. Growing up is just that my mom would find thrift things or go to yard sales and stuff growing up. So that's really where it started. But then I moved out and left Michigan and moved to Tennessee in 1999. And then, of course, it becomes a thing of I don't have the money for furnishings for my apartment, whatever. So you start getting secondhand, you get used things. And so that's kind of where it just progressed, was just starting out on my own. And then becoming a mom, same thing, hand-me-downs from other people, thrifting for clothes. Your kids are growing out of stuff so fast. It just kind of becomes a natural part of your life, and you don't even think about it. And I just never cared if someone, thought that was weird or whatever. It's like, I just didn't let it bother me. It was like, this is what I can afford, and it's perfectly good stuff, and we're going to use it, So it's just kind of always been a part of my life, is just thrifting things and buying used or, gently used things So for me, it was just easy. But what shocked me was finding out that you could actually make money selling it. So once I realized that 4 to 5 years ago, like I know it's been around longer, but I think I didn't really see how easy it was to do until maybe 5 years ago. And then I was like, okay, I might need to look into this a little bit and see what this is about, because I love thrifting and I love to go to yard sales and do all that. So that's kind of where the natural progression basically of how that happened for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of value in what you just said. There seems to be, or at least there was, like you said, in the 80s and 90s, about stigma wrapped around thrifting and having used items. I personally grew up, I would say poor is a good word. So I totally get that. And we had to, hand me down. So I had an older sister. So just imagine what that was like. Just kidding. I didn't wear dresses.
No hand-me-downs from her.
No hand-me-downs from her, but I mean, we did have that type of thing going on, like within the family structure, cousins and stuff like that. So that was a lot of what we had as kids. And I remember my greatest present or gift that I ever received from my parents. We were in a thrift store, and I was a big Batman fan back then, still am. And I received a penguin from I wanted this penguin from the thrift store. My mom said, absolutely not. No, it's not going to happen. And then I was really upset about it. But that Christmas, I ended up getting it. And that's one of the core memories that I have about, being in a thrift store and, what that actually meant. So in the moment, it doesn't seem like, there's a stigma when you're living that life. But you're right, though. Once you get to like middle school, high school,
Mm-hmm.
it was just terrible. Yeah,
Kids can be mean, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So what about reselling? Now that we have an idea about like where you like got your love of the thrift maybe, or your knowledge of the thrift along the way, what was it that brought you to actually taking that knowledge and, like, if we can rewind a bit, to get to you reselling? What drove that?
Honestly, I think the first time I went to the bins, I saw recently in my Facebook memories, it was like 5 years ago, right around this time of year. I think it was the end of 2020, maybe, that someone I was connected to here in Nashville had went to the bins, and she posted about it and pictures. And I was like, what is this place? I've never heard of it. Didn't know it existed. And when she talked about how much, you pay by the pound, and she's showing pictures of what they got. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, that blew my mind, because I didn't know anything about the bins. I think that's what really turned it for me, because I went there and I was so like, the first time you're like overwhelmed. You're like, what's going on? And everybody's so, it's kind of crazy, and stuff's flying. But just seeing what you can grab, and the fact that it's just pay by the weight, I was just like, I was hooked as soon as I went. And that's when I realized what people were doing, because being there is when you start to see the other resellers and you hear the conversations around you. And so that's when I was like, oh, I see what's going on. This is where people are getting the stuff and they're flipping it online, making money. And then that was it. That's really where it came in, is because of the bins. Blame it on the bins.
I blame that sounds like a country song. Which is timely because you're out of Nashville, right? So you should hook up with one of those singer-songwriters and just like make a bin song. That's
hilarious.
It would go viral through the community, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's something about the bins, I tell you.
There
is just something.
Now,
there's
either
a
you hate
special
it or you love it. There's no in between. I have learned this.
Yes.
I've brought people before, and it's like, well, what do you think? They're like, no. Yeah. Like, no, I don't want to touch anything. It's a little busy. So yeah.
Absolutely.
For those that might not know what the bins is that we're talking about, Goodwill, the retail stores have items that are donated to them, and they're a corporation. They're not a charity, just for the record. Not that that's important, but it is context. So their main goal is to make profit. And when they don't sell those items, they go to an outlet center, which is by weight. So it depends on your area how much that costs per pound. But I believe in Nashville right now it is $1.89 a pound, and I heard rumors that's going up, possibly.
I did hear that.
So I just want to give some context for those that might not know what a bins is. A little bit of backstory in regards to that. So yeah, I can understand how. Now, when you went there originally, was it just for personal? Is that basically what you're doing? So, and you saw these folks in their cha-chings on their phone. I'm like, what's going on? Am I in a
I mean, you hear people talking because they all, the resellers know each other, and they're talking, and you can overhear conversations because you're standing right there in this, all these blue bins with all these people around. So people are talking as they're going. And I'm realizing, and you have the people scanning the books, right? Like they're scanning the USB with their phones. And I was like, okay. And I'm just observing all that. So you have the book people over here, the toy people, right? You have the toy people over there, and then all the clothing people. And, everyone's kind of got usually their niche. I go to everything, but, and you just listen to their conversations and see what they're putting in their carts. Kind of gather all of that information and then start looking online. And I actually started looking on YouTube at that point and started to follow people. That's where I started following other resellers, was YouTube first. I was probably I think I entered in like Goodwill Outlet, Goodwill Bins, and started finding the people who were posting videos, from the bins. So that's how I started following. Actually, Paul, the Philly Flipper, was one of the first people I followed. So, because he used to do, I don't think he went to the bins though, but for some reason his content came up for me when I was searching. And so Paul was one of the first ones. There was another guy who I don't know what he's still doing today. I found his. So I started finding these bins people, and then I would just, how you just rabbit trail. I found Kristen.
Trust me.
Kristen was the first resellers I followed too.
Yeah.
On YouTube and stuff. So yeah. Because she does the bins. So it came up in one of my searches, I think, too. So then you start following people, then you get on social media and follow people, and then you meet everybody else, and it just, becomes a big family after that.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's how I met Tennessee Treasures. I actually was on Whatnot. I was a buyer then, and I was like, hey, did you hear about this reseller meetup that's happening in Nashville? And because obviously Tennessee Treasures, she must be in Tennessee, right? So I was just like, hey, this thing's happening. Did you hear about it? She's like, no, I didn't. I was like, yeah, you should totally come down here. Or I guess, yeah, for her it'd be sideways. Me for it's up. I'm in Alabama, but yeah, so that's kind of how. So I get the rabbit hole thing. Is the point. So I'm going to guess on the year you started reselling. I'm going to say 2000, 2001. Does that sound right?
21.
21?
Yeah.
Or sorry, 2021.
Yeah. It was 2020 when I think I first heard about the bins. And by 21, I started selling in spring, summer. But I started with live pop-up shows here in town.
Oh,
because this was, right after COVID, and the town was trying to do functions. Everybody wanted to do functions again because everybody was tired of doing nothing. So our little town that we had just moved to was doing the little like night markets, Friday night market. It's called the first Friday night market. So the first Friday of the month for the summer months, they close the square off. We have a really cute little square, and they have all vendors set up. They have a band that plays live music, all the food trucks, all that kind of thing. It's really, really fun. So I did that. And they were really cheap on price because they were trying to get started again. So it was a cheap fee, to pay for your spot. And these ladies were all like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how it was going to go, being like used stuff, but the prices, we kept it down, and ladies were coming in and buying sweaters and all this stuff. So I did like, I think 2 of those, a summer one and a fall one, and then another town over. I did a Christmas one over there. So I was doing like live pop-ups first. That's where I started with. And it was fun, but it wasn't super lucrative, especially for the time it takes to set up and tear down for all of that. So that's when I started Poshmark in the fall of 21.
Were you doing anything else full time? Were you working a 9 to 5?
I wasn't working yet at that time.
Okay.
I started working from home in 23. A different job, like a regular job.
Yeah. So one of the things about reselling that I enjoy the most is I'm doing this part-time, but the freedom that it gives you in regards to your time management. So if you can manage to do this full time, I think there's a lot of value in that. And I just want to talk about that a bit because I know that you've mentioned behind the scenes that you're a mom and a wife and all the things. Do you find that to be something that is very attractive to you as well?
The part-time or going?
Yeah, the flexibility and the freedoms.
Absolutely.
That might.
Yeah, which is why I have the job that I have. I do medical billing for chiropractors. So I can sit, I'm at my desk. So I'm up in the bonus room and, I work from home. So that was the first thing, that I was able to do that to try to bring a little bit more of a stable income. But I'm an independent contractor. So I'm not W-2. So that's really nice. I have flexibility. Which is why it's really great. So it works great with my reselling business because of that flexibility. So I can come up to my desk whenever I want to do my work. And then my reselling I can do also whenever I want. It's kind of like I can make it all fit around my schedule, my family. So yeah, that's a huge thing for me is the flexibility that reselling can bring.
Yeah. So you mentioned your family. What do they think about the whole reselling thing? Like your space wise, do you have a certain area that you keep that to? Like, just curious.
Yeah, well, up here there's nothing up here except my light. So I usually come up here because it's carpeted to take photos. I have my light up here, I have my yardstick, and I'll do photos on the carpet floor because that's a nice neutral background. But all my stuff is down in the garage in storage totes. That's where I keep my inventory. So I'm not taking over the house, I've taken over the garage. So we don't park in there, but that's okay.
I've now taken over every inch of my property for this thing. It's grown
I have
legs.
2 garages and still stuff is upstairs. So
Yeah. It can get away from you if you let it. It's so hard not to source because in order to do a certain number in reselling, you need a certain number of products. It really is a numbers game, in my opinion, regardless of what you're selling, perhaps. So for us, we decided to go larger and broader in scope. That way, when it is slower, we have a lot of items to put in front of folks. So it may not seem slow for us when others are like we've mentioned, eBay's been slow, but we also cross list, which also helps. But yeah, so when it's slow like that, we have that volume. So even if we're selling 30 items a day, it doesn't seem that way for us. So there is this like place and time you have to make that decision, right? Like, how many items do I need? How many, I'm sure you've had that realization as well. It's like, how much do I need out of this part-time reselling thing that I'm doing? Do you have those kind of thoughts? I'm just curious from a business perspective.
I'm still learning that, and to be honest, and that's what when I was telling you in the messaging, and I'll just talk about him here, so it's understood who I'm talking about. But there's a reseller here in town who's $1 million earner. Last year, he broke $1 million in sales, and that's on eBay and Whatnot combined. I think Whatnot actually trumps eBay for him at this point. Wow. So his name's Caleb, and his handle is Cam Life. So on Whatnot, it's Cam Life. He only sells clothing. And my son actually works for him. My son does his shipping. He's been doing that for a year now. So they're just right here off the square in town. And I met him at the post office a year ago. That's how we were both in there. And that's how I met him. And then he gave me his number so I could ask him questions. And then I got my son the job interview for him. And now he's growing and they're still hiring more people. So I ask him questions because well, he kind of knows what he's doing. So I'm like,
Yeah, I would say so.
but he's
Hashtag goals.
Oh
Yes.
my God. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done. But he loves to share information. He loves to help people. I'll see him I saw him at the bins last week, because he'll go there to meet his contacts. You know, he has people that source for him that he buys from. He's gotten to that point. He can't source it all himself. Not when you grow that big. You are now you're making contacts with people who are at the bins every day, and you're buying from them. So that's what he's done. And he's also takes a trip to Texas once a month, and he sources there, and he's developing contacts there as well. So I ask him a lot of questions because eBay is where he started. And since I got off Poshmark, I'm focusing on eBay for right now. So, and the only reason why is because Poshmark wants to be used like a social media platform where they want you sharing other people's stuff and you're posting you're doing all that. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have jobs. I don't have time to be on Poshmark sharing closets and doing all this other stuff. And they take 20%. So they do take more than eBay does. So I thought, and Caleb's advice was I would just go to eBay and leave that one aside. I was like, I'm going to take your advice. I'm just going to do it. So I got off Poshmark. I think I have one item sitting on there. And I'm going to relist some of that stuff to eBay that's worth it. But everything else that I took off that's maybe been sitting for a while, I gave it all to Caleb, and he sold it for me in a closet clear out sale. He'll do closet. This is something new. You can send your stuff to him, and he'll do a closet clear out whatnot show, and then he'll give you half the profits.
Wow.
So that was great. That was better than
yay, God.
I know. Boxes, and his wife did that show. It took her 2 hours. And they sold all but 4 things. I was shocked. I was like, that's awesome. Now he does $1 starts, but so what? It's better than a yard sale. I didn't have to set up and do all that.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I want advice, I ask Caleb about different things, especially because it's eBay stuff I'm talking to him about, to ask questions. And so that's the stuff I'm still trying to grasp as far as, like you said, is there a certain amount of items I should have in my store? Is there a certain range, that I should be looking for? I try to pick up stuff. I'd like to make $20. Like I kind of think that in my mind. Obviously not everything I sell goes for $20, but I just try to think that way because it helps me when I'm sourcing to leave stuff behind, because that's the thing I noticed when you first start out. You're like grabbing everything. This is great. This is awesome. And you might think it is, but you need to do the comp looking up first to see if it's actually worth, picking it up. And you learn, I still do that, so.
It's hard not to get excited when you find value in something or try to find the value.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely. I think we're all guilty of that. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that must be tougher so you're not on Whatnot then? Because sometimes, if you just pick up everything,
Well, that's one thing I've been considering, and I've talked to him about this too. And I know I've done it. I think I did a show a week. It was last year. I might have did 3 or 4. But what was hard for me at the time was I was taking my stuff out of my inventory. I'd have to take it off Poshmark, go and photograph it, to get it all uploaded for Whatnot, to have a show, sell maybe 2 things, put it back in inventory. I was like, this isn't working. So I realized you have to have inventory just for Whatnot. That's all. It's only going to go there. You're not going to list it. So I might try it again, but I might just do clothes, because that's another thing that Caleb was talking about. He said, you should try to pick a niche and stick with it. He's like, do you want to do clothes or do you want to do hard goods? I'm like, but I like both.
Same. I'm with you. Because
I like antiques and decor,
Yes, same. That's what's so funny is when you talk to people on Whatnot, that's how I started on Whatnot. I was doing home decor. Don't ask me how I wound up in toys and plush, but I wound up there. But I started with home decor, and I love that stuff. I love finding it, but I don't sell it on Whatnot. Every once in a while, it'll pop in a show, but it's not what people know me for. So I understand completely. And I'm same, hands in a little bit of everything.
I love it. I mean, I guess some of it's nostalgia, I guess, for part of it, but some of it's because I like it too. Like, I decorate with it, or, and there's a desire for it. People want vintage decor. It's very popular. So there's that too. But what I understood was, okay, I have to ship it. So that means I got to have a bunch of boxes and packing paper all ready to go as soon as Whatnot show is over for what you sell. And clothes or plush, they can just go in a poly bag. That's really easy. So that's why I was like, okay, if I do decide, and this is what I've been tossing around the last few weeks, because I've been making my goals were to start going to the bins weekly, and I wasn't doing that at first, but this is the kind of stuff I've been trying to change and shift about what I'm doing. And I decided, well, the bins is just the best place to go. It's one-stop shop. I can go to one location, not drive, all over the place looking at yard sales or driving to so many different thrift stores. I can go to one spot. I can spend 4 to 5 hours digging. I have the same opportunity as someone going to yard sales, because you're not always guaranteed you're going to find something. You can go to 2, 3, 4, 5 yard sales and really not find anything that you want. And you just burned up all your gas and you just wasted 3 hours, like driving around. So that's one of the reasons I thought, well, the bins is great. And we have 2 of them, right? So I can always go from one to the other. And the price is right because it's cheap. And so I thought, well, maybe I should start doing this more frequently. And then I'm also talking to people while I'm there. I'm learning who the resellers are. I just ask them questions because I want to know what they're doing or what are they picking up or what platform are you on? And most of them are talking about Whatnot. So they're definitely, using it. So I thought, well, maybe I should start sourcing clothes just for Whatnot and just start slowly building that and doing at least one show a week, just to at least start and just do clothes, like maybe do a t-shirt show or do boho style or something like that. Maybe buy the style based, because that's a very popular way to do it as well.
Yeah.
I'll be your biggest customer if you find eyes out in my size. I tell you what, I'm a big guy. You've met me in person.
You're taller than I am.
You're definitely taller as well. Plus size clothing can do very well. I think and Whatnot would probably catch fire. I know that clothing can be a very competitive market. Have you talked to Caleb a bit, or have you done your own research regarding what would be your I don't want to say angle, that sounds a little icky, but how would you present that to Whatnot, you think? I know that it's trying to be different. Obviously you want to be your genuine authentic self, right? And provide a good item at an affordable price. I think that's basically all you need, but it is a show at the end of the day. People want to be entertained. Have you thought about that at all? I'm just curious.
No, because I would just have to, it would just be something I think you kind of probably just evolve over time when you get started. Because like I said, I did a few of them and people would pop in and I probably had 10 at one time, which is huge because nobody knew me. So I was like,
that's not bad.
There's 10 people in here and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I know that over time you start to get comfortable and develop kind of, the kind of personality you want to, I guess, portray in front of a camera or whatever. It's like talking to yourself, really. I mean, it looks like it because you can't see anybody, just their comments. So I thought about it because I would like to ramp up my business, and eBay's great, but I know the turnover can be really quick with Whatnot. You can just, if you really get a following going.
Especially the way you're sourcing, it sounds like the bins to Whatnot model. And I've seen it. Flip the World Texas was going live from the bins. I'm not sure if you follow Flip the World Texas. He's on Whatnot. He does a podcast on Fridays. Shout out to Flip the World. Chris is awesome. So he was going live from the bins for a while until they closed that one near his house. But that was an option for him at the time. So I can definitely see how that would be lucrative. And Chris mentioned some of the numbers he was pulling down is very much similar to what Caleb is seeing as well. So there is definitely, and it's only going to grow over time. So if you're hearing my voice and you're listening to this podcast, just know that it's not too late to get on Whatnot. And we're still in the early phases here in the States. I mean, it's big overseas. Online social media sales is the way of the future for reselling. You're already seeing it with Poshmark Live, TikTok Shop, all the platforms, Whatnot, Dibdit, all the things, right?
Now, do you know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk.
That's who I started watching that actually led me to doing this. So
Gary V's talking about it. It's taken off because he always kind of sees what's coming down the pike when it comes to that kind of thing. And he's talking about it like crazy. I think does Twitter X or whatever, doesn't that have a live platform now?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised though I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually a thing, because I think everybody's, and I shouldn't say everybody, most people are seeing the writing on the wall. I mean, there's always going to be those platforms kind of like Blockbuster, how they decided not to, and Netflix saw the opportunity, right? There's always going to be those folks that don't want to change and move and iterate, fail fast and fail forward. There's always going to be those, but I think for most part, people are realizing that live sales is definitely the way forward. And when you have a business model like using Goodwill as a lever, I mean, the potential is unlimited to what you can actually do. And even if you have a small space and you start off small, I've always said, even if it's just a closet, let's say you're in New York City and all you have is a closet, find those items that people are wanting desperately. If you're a fashionista and you got great style, that's all it takes, right? I'm the last person that should be selling clothing. Have you seen me lately? I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm just saying, but that's an opportunity, right? So use your passions, use the things that you are good at. And if you're not and you want to learn about that stuff, these are the podcasts you're wanting to listen to. We can tell you what's trending in sales for toys right now. I did a post on the Resellers Refuge, our private Facebook group that you're part of, about Beanie Plush and how that is 44% increased over the last 90 days on eBay for people searching. So I'm not saying Beanie Babies, don't come at me in the comments, but I'm saying Beanie Plush in general. So that's just one trend, right? So you could do trend analysis, you can do all the things and find a niche that works for you. I always say be passionate about what you sell. And if you're a clothing person and you're passionate about fashion, man, give it a try. I mean, you'd be surprised. I think Kaylee Co was just on the Nashville Flippers podcast.
Katie Co.
Is that her name? Katie Co?
Katie
So
Co.
Katie Co, yeah, she was just on the Nashville in Tennessee can tell you, treasures can tell you. I think it was 7 million. Is that right, Ellie?
7 million.
And she's not even 21 yet.
She's 20. I think she's 20. Yeah, she's not even 21.
Yeah, she made $7 million last year, I think.
Been selling since she was like 12 or 13 or something. Amazing story. Very similar to, I'm not sure how old Caleb is, but equally inspiring to hit those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is incredible. So I encourage you to, for your business this year, to definitely keep on track with that mindset that you have, because I think that's what's going to ultimately help you, is having the mindset that you're willing to treat it like a business, and B, grow it as such, right? You're going to consider it in all the things that you do now. And I think that's the part of being successful that people don't often see. They often misconstrue that with luck. And it really is just hard work and practice is what it comes down to. And all the hard work that you're putting in now will pay in spades, I'm sure. So I definitely can see how that would definitely be beneficial for you. So I can't wait to see all the success that comes from your business. And I love running into you in Nashville, by the way. We source in Nashville all the time. We're in Alabama, North Alabama, so it's only about an hour and a half for us.
What was it, like a week ago?
Yeah, like a week ago, we ran into each other, and my wife was automatically picked you out of the crowd, and she just was like,
she walks up, she's like, "Excuse me," or something, and I turned around.
I love her. I love her.
Well, what's funny, the story though that you were starting to say at the beginning, that's funny about when I first met you guys was there, which was like a year and a half ago or whenever that was. It was after I was in your show at the end of right around Christmas time. You guys did that show and you did all those giveaways.
Oh yeah,
I won 2 of your giveaways in your Whatnot show. I bought some stuff and I won 2. I'm pretty sure I won 2 things, and I was so excited because I was going to give them to my girls for Christmas. And so then when I ran into them at the bins, I was like, hey, and then I told her who I was. I was like, I won your giveaways, because I remember Bob was like, well, you should like play the lottery or something, because I was like,
You won 2 in a row. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw you guys, I was like, I won your stuff in your show, and Amanda was so funny, and she's like, oh my gosh, I just feel so good. I have a fan. I met one fan. It was
She's
so
like,
great.
I'm internet famous. Oh my god.
Literally, that's how I felt when I met you guys. I was like, somebody knows me. I know someone. So cool.
Yeah.
In person.
It really is. If you're hearing this and you haven't been to a meetup or haven't ran into someone that's reselling, I totally recommend 100%, 10 of 10, just connecting with people in your local area. Start your own mini meetup if you need to, or come down to the Nashville reseller meetup that the Nashville Flipper sets up. Normally around April, I think it happens, and Ray hasn't announced it yet. So I know everybody's been kind of question marking him about like, hey, when's it going to happen? But I definitely recommend you guys, if you can't get to Nashville, definitely find one near you, and or maybe start one. Heck, why not? Start one near yourself and connect with other like-minded folks, because I think sometimes we run better in packs, right? Connecting with like-minded individuals will help grow your business. You become the person, you hang around the 5 people that you become, or whatever, you hang around with 5, whatever the saying is. So when you hang around with other people that are like-minded and business focused, you will become that, is basically the point. So yeah, you want to make sure you do that. And I can't say enough about that. So.
I think it's really important, just because it can be lonely. You said you work from home. I am a stay-at-home mom. I do this. I call it part-time. It consumes a lot of my time, but I don't make full-time money. So
part-time, 10 hours a day.
But it's so important. Like, I have family that just doesn't understand, I think, the clutter that comes with this.
Oh,
She froze.
I think she froze.
Must be her internet.
Maybe lost her, but I definitely can understand that. I think what she was trying to get to is that a lot of times the people that are closest to you will not understand you nor appreciate what you can do. I'll tell you a Bible story real quick. When Jesus went back to Nazareth, right?
The people that are closest to you. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I was trying to reconnect. I think I'm back. Am I back?
Your audio is
Frozen. The audio's back. There you are.
Well,
There I am.
Ellie, you'll appreciate this. I was just telling a Bible story.
Oh, let me listen.
So I was just saying, when Jesus came back from Nazareth, he tried to perform a miracle. Nobody believed. So he couldn't do anything because they didn't believe, right? So it's kind of the same thing. The people that know you the best, they knew him as a carpenter, right? So he couldn't do anything other than. So I'll just say for the record that even the people that are closest to you, you'll get more support from a stranger doing this and reselling. And that's super interesting. And I'm not going to get into too much of what you should do with that, because it's a personal decision. But I think it just speaks volumes to the character of the person. And I'll leave it at that. And just remember that if someone's a naysayer or is doubting you in a negative connotation for your reselling, don't believe that. Don't let that drive your destiny. So
Yeah, I just think that there's things about reselling that they just will never understand, like sourcing at the bins. I think, Marcy, I'm not sure if you were saying it's either one or the other. You love it or you don't. My family doesn't, or most of them don't. I brought them to the bins and they're just looking like, this is what you do. And that's okay. That's okay. It's for me. But, it's nice to have a community of people that really does understand the love of reselling, no matter the niche.
yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things. And I don't know, Ashley, how do you feel about, what do people think about what you're doing in regards to your work? So I'm just curious.
I think that there's the preconceived notion that, I go shopping all the time. and I'm finding good stuff. And it's like, no, I don't go shopping all the time. Yes, I do find occasional good stuff, but there's times you go, you don't find anything. But, and I mean, uh, most of my family is like, oh, that's cool. And then when I show them what not looks like, they're like, holy crud, you do that live? People are in there like trying to explain it to it. So that's a little bit, I think that's where sometimes it doesn't cross over when you explain it until you actually
Yeah.
show them and they're like, holy crud, I couldn't do that. So
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of family here in Alabama, so it's hard for me to say what people really think about this. So all I have really is my core people here, and whenever we mention like the success that we're having, it's always like awe-inspiring to them. Like, I can't believe that you made that much off of, like, I'll send them a picture of a teddy bear that sold for $150, and they're just like, what the why is that or whatever. So it's always one of those types of things. So I think that's another reason why I share, not to brag, but to inspire and to show people what there is in value there is in things. Because people are things, people are thing people. They like, what's your love language, acts of service, are you a thing person, is it time, is it what's going on with you? And people receive that differently. So I think a lot of like what we do, we're selling an emotion, we're not selling an item. So when we sell plush, and a lot of times people connect with things in that way, even clothing. How does it make you feel when you wear it? So you're not selling an item, you're selling an emotion. And to remember that can make you a better salesperson, I think. So just kind of when you're iterating through, my advice would be to those listening, just kind of remember that in the back of your mind. It will definitely help you especially during the slow times and the times where you're maybe self-doubting. Just remember that you're selling that and feeling. When you show something on Whatnot, you can say, wow, this material feels this way. And doesn't it look great in this way? Like the style of it, you can say this scarf goes with this or whatever the case may be. I try to do that with plush and toys too. I'm like, this item's great. And if you love this one, you're really going to like this one because this is very similar in regards to it. So
Just like when occasionally someone will give a little bit of extra feedback, like actual feedback on like Poshmark or eBay, rather than just give you the stars or whatever, they'll write something. And I love when they do that because some people will get personal and tell you like, this was for, my mom had one, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a very personal thing to that person that they purchased that from you. I love that because that's that connection, like you just said. And I actually had right before Christmas, I had the Polo Bear sweatshirt, and those are expensive if you know who the Polo Bear is. And I had it listed. I got it at yard sale, and I had it listed. I don't remember how high I had it, but then someone sent me an offer with a message and said my son wanted one of these when he was like 7 years old. Now he's 24. I would love to get this for him for Christmas. And I took her offer and I shipped it. I was like, I can't. I mean, this lady this is a connection thing for her. So I had to take her offer. I probably could have got more, but it already had been sitting for a few months in my closet. Why not make somebody happy,
absolutely.
So I love that. That's exactly what you just said. It's those personal connections and stories, and you just have no idea what that person out there is looking for. And you might be providing something like that for that person because you took the time to just pick it up and say, this has value,
That does bring a little extra joy to what we do, for sure.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I have a letter from a customer that bought from me on Etsy. I'm going to slide over to my desk and get it. Well, I'll let you guys talk it for a minute. I'm going to read it right online. Hang on a second.
Okay. I was going to say one thing about people that don't like the bins. I was going to say, so I had brought my husband one time, and that's not his thing. And that's because he's very introverted and there's so many people. And I get it. Like you said, it's definitely not for everyone. And I don't ever fault anyone for that because it's different than going to a thrift store where you can just shop a rack. That's just like a store. But the bins is a complete different experience. But he sees what I do. And so does my family. I'll send a screenshot when something sells. And then they all just celebrate with me. It's like they're excited because they understand there's value behind those things. It might not be something everybody wants to do, but they can appreciate,
So
what that can do.
I wonder, because you pick up a lot more like higher end clothes. I've seen you pick up boots. I don't know. Do you pick up a lot of toys?
I don't. I haven't picked up a lot. Usually,
So
I don't know much about them, to be honest with you, unless I see something that's vintage, that I grew up with.
So I think that the disconnect that I've received has been because of that. Like, you're picking up toys, like who wants toys?
Oh,
I think that that's the disconnect that I've received.
from other
I don't
people.
pick up clothes much, or I do pick up shoes. And so in the times that I've come home with like some Jordans, I'm like, I got myself a new pair of Jordans, and sometimes I keep them for me. I've heard from these family members like, where'd you get those? I'm like, paid $5 for them.
That's the best thing.
What? And then I see yes. And so I think that's a little bit of the disconnect. People don't quite understand the toys, the nostalgia behind that. But I have received what you're saying, kind of like excitement for the finds when it's something that they might have wanted or, picked up or bought full price or something.
Yeah.
So what do you got,
Yeah,
Bob?
that's awesome. All right, so I'm back, and I love everything that you guys are saying, and it really is timely because Dottie C from Long Lake, Minnesota writes, "Hi, Robert, and Merry Christmas. I just wanted you to know how much I'm trying to read this. Her handwriting is not the best, Dottie. I love how much I love the Coke bear. It was a Coca-Cola bear that she had to purchase that arrived from you today. It says he is wonderful. He's in wonderful shape, and thank you. And I thank you. I think it's my son bought this for me when he was in high school, and through the move and other things, I lost the bear. So it's a special feeling to have him with me again. Blessings, Dottie C." So
I love that.
she took the time
She
to
wrote a letter.
handwrite a letter and send it to me, which is really another reason why I think that plush and toys can be impactful. Also, other things that you're selling can be impactful. You don't know the difference that you're making in someone's life. So just remember, again, it's the emotion that you're selling. And this is proof of it. And this is a physical representation of that. We get electronic messages all the time. Like Marcy was saying about, thank you so much, or I'm on a fixed income. Would you mind taking a lower price? Things like that. And we always try to do our best about that, accepting those types of offers. So, yeah.
I have a question since
Sure.
we're on the subject. What do you guys say? Because I see a lot of contrast to what you're saying in the reselling community. If somebody is telling you they have a fixed income, don't believe them. If somebody's sending you a low offer, don't take it, stand your ground, that kind of thing. What would you say to those resellers or that
I'll let
mindset?
Marcy. I'll let Marcy go first. She's our guest. Marcy, what would you say to someone like that?
I kind of just have to. I judge that on my own. I feel that out for myself. I'm never going to assume anything of anyone. So
Yeah.
I think that's the first place for me is I don't just make assumptions immediately that someone's just a scammer.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what people are always trying to act like that. And I know there's scammers out there. I'm not, it's possible I got scammed by a return. I don't know for sure, but you just kind of have to take it. Like I'll message Bob sometimes. I'm like I just did today.
Yeah.
The lady just got her boots, and one was missing the lace. I honestly didn't notice it. If you go back to the listing, it's not on there. It must not have had one. But then she's like, "Well, why didn't you disclose that in the listing?" And I'm like, and I sent it to Bob. I said, "Do you think if she wants to return this, that eBay would side with her?" He said, "Probably." But she hasn't done it yet. But I just said, "I'm really sorry. It was truly an oversight. If I would have realized it was missing the lace, I would have disclosed it." But I said, "I'm sure you can find some on Amazon. Like it's laces, right? Like
Right.
the other one has the lace in it. Take it out, measure it, and then you know what size you need." It's I'm thinking I would just go on Amazon and buy them. But so far she hasn't, said anything about a return. But I don't want to just automatically assume that every single person out there is a scammer. That's, you know, so I think I do a case by case type thing. I just kind of look at the situation. What's the item they're asking about? How much should I pay for it? Really, for me, it's really, that's the biggest thing for me. What was my cost in that item so that I can at least make a profit? That's all I care about. I don't need to make 3x the amount. I don't have to make this huge amount of money on that item if I only paid $5.
Yeah.
And it can make someone else happy, and I've flipped it and I've made the money, and it's not sitting there for like 8 months in my shop. So
there's that too, right? So
yeah,
I think that's definitely great advice. What about you, Ashley? How do you handle that? Because I know that sometimes Whatnot could be crazy with people asking for deep discounts and deep cuts and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine is, I agree with Marcy. It's a case by case basis. It's kind of like, I grew up in a time where, you trust everybody. I believe everybody has good intentions. I will go ahead and tell you on Whatnot, I was one of the ones like I never noticed, like, you learn as you start growing. And I started seeing like people receive these items and put, I was seeing things and I was like, okay, different people coming in the room or people buying stuff and then like saying it was their perception of how it was received, that sort of thing, of it was how to mischaracterize as to how it was shown, or it was damaged, which was not the case, and packing and that sort of thing. And I was the first one. I'm the type of person on Whatnot, I will not block you. I reached a point that I started seeing trends, that I was seeing the same person doing the same thing. You're blocked. So now I'm like, I give everybody that ample opportunity. And then now I've reached a point of blocking different people. And then the other plus side of the Whatnot community is you have a lot of fellow sellers that are also selling, and you kind of get that heads up about certain people. And you're like, okay, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then when it happens, mine is case by case basis, but report them. If it's a trend and it's the same person, it needs to be reported. Otherwise they're going to keep doing it. So
yeah,
that's mine. But I always see the good intentions of everybody. My same thing as Marcy. If I've been sitting on it, I don't care if I'm going to get $1 million. How long is it going to take me to get that $1 million for that item? It's not worth it. You want it now? Here you go.
Yeah. You stumbled upon something during that really struck a chord with me. Intent. Whenever you're trying to figure out someone's like good or bad, and you're not really quite sure, always look at the intent behind the ask. A lot of times that can lead you to the proper discernment. So for me, a lot of times, like when I'm out and about and someone's asking for money, just recently I actually have it on recording with my meta classes. I was recording a video and someone asked for money. I'm not going to post that to YouTube or anything because I don't think that's appropriate. But the reason why I brought it up is because going back and looking at the footage, I can see the actual intent behind the individual's ask. You can see the desperation. So in the moment, did I feel it? Probably not. My wife automatically opened her wallet and gave him. He originally asked for one, and then he started changing his story a bit. And that's when it started feeling like it might have been maybe icky. But she was just like, well, you asked for one, and here's 5, right? Because he started to ramp up. And she's like, here you go. And he just kind of ran off. But I guess the point is like intent has a lot to do with it. A lot of times it's hard to discern that, though. So I guess when you give money to someone, you do it with the hope that they're going to use it for whatever purpose is necessary to, help them, and just try to be okay with that. It's a hard thing to get behind, especially when it's a donation or, you're trying to help them out in that way, which is a little bit different than the scammers on reselling. How I deal with that, basically, again, case by case, just like you guys. Is it something, and it's hard because I swore off electronic plush for 2026. I'm not picking up another plushie that has electronics in it. And then here I am picking up another one. I'm just like, they comp so high. I'm just like, I can't help myself.
I love
I'm a
electronic
reseller.
plush. What are you talking about?
I
Electronic
like
plush.
saving them. I like saving them.
Yeah,
Me
so
too.
yeah, I know. But when you send them off on eBay and they say, "Oh, it didn't work when I got it," and you're just like, "Yeah, but
For eBay,
did you
we can
replace
post
it with the one
videos.
right?" And we do. Did you replace it with the one you had that didn't work? So you start making these like
Yeah,
stories up in your head, and you're just like, you know what?
I know.
I'm just going to accept the return because eBay will actually force me to accept it. So why go through the heartache and the drama? I'm going to accept a return, get back a broken item, and write it off on my taxes and keep it moving. That's kind of how I do it.
Hey,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't think I've gotten any returns for electronic plush.
We get them all the time. It's just so frustrating.
Really?
It really
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm not exactly sure what the problem is there, but it's just a part of the business. Reselling is one of those things that, returns are a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's an entire podcast on itself is how to deal with returns and what to do in that
Right.
case. And if it's eBay, you're pretty much out of luck. But there are things you can do to mitigate that. You could basically accept returns and have a policy in place where at least they have to pay for the return shipping. So that sometimes that will deter the person from returning it. Having that acceptance of the 30-day return, but you know what, you have to pay for it to come back. Once you do that, sometimes people start saying, yeah, or accept it in the hopes that they're too lazy to send it off to the post office. So
Yeah.
that's happened a few times for us, where they're just like got sidetracked, got busy, didn't send it off, and they closed the case, and here we are. So it's just a part of the game, and it just depends on how you want to deal with it. We actually don't accept returns on eBay. So
That's how mine is set up too. That's how I have it set up.
No returns.
yeah, so we put the bill both
Okay.
ways, and it stings a little when it happens. But our percentage return rate is super low. So for us, it's been okay. I've even had them on whatnot. I mean, it happens. I want my money back. This thing you didn't disclose this that, but did we? Because the video receipt with what's great about whatnot is that everything was recorded in video. So you a lot of times and whatnot will have you they'll have your back as a reseller, which is great that the platform does that. I'm hoping they always do that. I'm not sure. I've heard rumors that that might not always be the case, that they're gonna stop doing the adjustments for shipping. They're gonna start having you handle your own return process and all the other things that most platforms kind of make you do. So I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm hoping they'll continue to be a supportive platform because it means a lot to a reseller.
Yeah.
Sure.
What do you think? They're going to change it, Marcy? I could see them maybe doing it.
Oh, for whatnot? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, eBay, that's always the thing that they've been known for is they protect the buyer more than the seller. They always side with the buyer. So I don't know. I've only bought like a couple things on whatnot before.
Yeah.
Has your experience been good as a buyer on whatnot? Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. I got stuff from
Yeah. Okay.
Bob. And I also got, let's see, I bought a few from like maybe three or four different people, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love selling on whatnot. In the moment, it's the anticipation leading up to it that I'm not a fan of. And having to be set to a schedule is a little bit difficult for me. I'm more of a pop-up type of guy. When I'm feeling the mood, I'd like to do pop-ups, but you can do that and be successful and whatnot, but it helps to be consistent and have a set time as well. So especially when you're first starting. So that's my one hang up on whatnot. What about you, Ashley? What's your one hang up on whatnot?
My one hang up on whatnot.
Yeah, like is there
I
something
think
that you
mine,
really
mine is like you get that like the 15 minutes before you go live. I'm like, okay, do I have everything? Do I have this, that sort of thing? But once you're in there, I'm fine. Like I'm good to go. Like I love it. I will sit and be on a show for an hour and I may never ever sell anything, but I'm going to sit and have fun. We're going to cut up whatever, move to the next person. because I don't know about y'all, but December was rough on Whatnot. It was rough, a few weeks rough on Whatnot, but it's just, you got to go with the flow of it. Yeah, that's the only thing. I don't think I can think of anything else right now.
Yeah. What about you, Ellie? Do you think is there like one thing that you're just like fish shaking about, like the platform itself? There's got to be at least one thing. Now's your
I'm
chance.
very much like you. I struggle sometimes to just hit that go live button. Part of that is just as a mom of four kids take up a lot of my time. I got to figure out how to feed them every day, and I homeschool, and then I'm trying to do eBay, so I got to get that up and listing. And so there's a little bit of a work-life balance. Like, when do I go live? When do I list? When do I do this? I don't know that I have a complaint on Whatnot itself, except for it's like a blessing and a curse, I think. There are cliques that sometimes form, and sometimes those cliques can become very empowering to the community, but sometimes those cliques can become very, like, you kind of feel like an outcast. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly.
I think so.
But I am very much like a lone wolf up until very recently. So I haven't like been involved in a lot of if any of that, but I have seen it happen. And I've seen the ramifications of it, like people getting singled out or people getting hurt. And so I guess that's the big it's a little bit like back to high school with there can be drama. It can feel cliquey. It can be a race to the top, like who's going to get the most people in their shows. And the other thing is, as resellers, we want to support each other while we're live, right? And we want to buy from each other, and we want to try to just show love and support. But I don't know about you guys. My pockets don't run that deep. So I sometimes feel like if I'm in the show and I can't buy, I feel a little bit guilty. And I feel like there's an expectation sometimes for that.
Huh.
That's very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see maybe part of that. Yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming from. And I think ways to maybe mitigate that are to do the things that you can do for someone's. And I would say a share, a comment is more important to me personally. But I could definitely see like the other side of that coin, like being, you see someone promoting, and I won't name names, or doing something of that nature, and you're just like, wow, they're getting more followers than me because they're doing XYZ financially, and I just can't make that happen right now for whatever reason. Like, I could see how that would be a deterrent, but I want to just encourage not only you, Ellie, but everybody listening to this to do and be intentional what you can do in the time that you can do it. And I'll give you an example of my YouTube channel. A like or subscribe would be more meaningful to me than a stars on Facebook or some sort of like monetary compensation regarding that. So, because there's value, more perceived value for me in that. And I think most people probably would feel that way too. So be encouraged to, if you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes outside your busy schedule to mod for somebody, or to be a part of their small orbit for just a little bit, I think that can go a long way. Marcy, I know you don't sell on Whatnot, and static reselling is mostly your jam, but have you ever had that moment in time where the intention, not the financial intention, but the intention itself has led to that type of relationship where you grew a community? Like, I know you've done pop-ups and meeting people and things of that nature. What's your experience been with that? Like, have you seen growth through that type of like engagement?
Well, I haven't had that kind of engagement as much, simply because I'm not with other resellers until I run into them at the bins. like that's it.
Well, you ran into Caleb I suppose I answered my own question because you ran into Caleb at the post office, right? That's a good example of just being kind and friendly, and look where that led, right?
Well, I mean, you've met me. I talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a
That's
problem.
because you're the best.
I'm not, it's my husband's the same way. We're just kind of I don't know if you call it the oldest child thing because we're both the oldest child, but I don't know. I have to talk to more oldest childs to see if it's a thing. But
I'm an
I'm the
oldest,
baby, so-
so I don't think that's the case.
I'm the
Got an
baby. So.
introvert.
I was gonna say I'm the baby too.
well, okay, then it's a personality thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm extroverted. He's introverted, but he doesn't have a problem talking to people either. So I think that's a thing. Is if you're not afraid just to talk to somebody and ask a question or just put yourself out there, and I'm not afraid to do that. So when I saw him, he had the cart, a wheeling cart full of stuff. I'm like, this guy's a reseller. What else would that be? That's why I asked him. I was like, oh, are you a reseller? There goes the conversation. So for me, it's just a matter of maybe picking someone out and asking a question, which is why I've been doing that at the bins more frequently, because I'm trying to learn from other people. So for me, that's where I have to do it, is I have to go to the bins or see someone at the thrift store or go to the reseller meetup, because I'm not really on Whatnot to where I can ask questions. But when I have been on there, I would sometimes ask questions. I think I've asked you guys questions before, and I've used to ask Paul questions before. Like, this is back, quite some time ago. But like, I would sometimes do that. I just don't get on Whatnot very often. I mean, again, it's another thing where it's like I don't have a lot of time to just sit there and watch people's shows. I'm not going to buy anything. Like you said, it's like I don't have the deep pockets right now. I can't just go and blow money on whatever. I'm trying to sell stuff. But sometimes I like to pop in and just see, and it's fun to watch because you watch what other people are doing, how they do it, what are they selling, what are people buying right now? That's a great way just to learn.
Market research, yeah, absolutely.
Market research, and just watching what Caleb's doing. And that's why I said when he said pick a niche if you can, he's like, I know everything resellers. There's people out there that do it. You can do it. He's like, it's not that you can't do it, but you do better when you have a focus on a certain niche, because then you're just like, that's what I'm picking up. I'm not going to go over here and get this. I'm going to stay with this stuff, and you learn it. Like, you guys know your plush and stuff. Like I'm standing next to you guys at the bins, and you're like, oh, see this is a blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't even know.
There is a blah, blah plush, by the way. Go figure.
Yeah, you're like $30 right here. I'm like, I would have set it right down and kept going.
Then vice versa. You see clothes, and we're like, okay, I know Nike, I know this, but you'll pull up like this, and we'll be like, okay, it's a shirt.
I just recently picked up a Chanel bag at the bins.
Real?
Yeah, this is my thought process. At weight, it was probably a quarter, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna put this in my bag. What the hell? And then check later. I reached out to Rachel Strickland. She's a reseller's reseller. If you're not following Rachel Strickland, you really need to do that. She's on YouTube. She is an eBay seller or whatnot. So I mean, she's all over the place. So she's also an artist and all the other things that she's doing, mom and wife and all the things. But reached out to her, and she just right away messaged me back about, she's like, can you send me some photos and all the things? And I was like, man, I was looking at comps online. It's like, if this thing is genuine, this is a $3,000 purse just sitting at the Goodwill bins, and it happens, right? So she messaged me back, and she was like, okay, so well, it has this and this. She's like, can you scan the QR code that's inside? Because there's a little QR code on the back of the label. And I was like, it's in a really bad spot. I can't get the right angle. I'm also looking at my hands, right? So I'm like trying to take a picture, and she's like, well, all the markers and indicators and the stitching and the quality of it, she's like, I really don't think it's real. And I was just like, but she says there's still value but you can't sell it anywhere. No. Because it will get like flagged everywhere.
That's what I've learned recently.
That's the flea market.
Caleb,
there you go.
I had picked up 2 sweatshirts that had this New York stuff on them, big old graphics. It was called Dandy, and I was like, "Ooh, this is really cool looking." I thought it was real, and it even had the embroidery in the front. And I sold one. They got a lot of attention really fast. I sold one. The person got it and said, "This isn't real," and they asked for a return, which I gladly did that. And luckily, all we did was the return, the refund, and all that. I didn't get flagged. But I talked to Caleb about that, and he said, don't sell things that aren't real. I said, well, I didn't know first, I didn't know it wasn't. He goes, but make sure, find out how to authenticate. Otherwise, don't even sell it, because you only get like 2 or 3 like flags and you're gone off the platform. So if you get reported, I think you might get like 3 strikes and you're out. You might get 3. And he goes, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because you can lose your whole shop. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that.
That brings up an interesting question: when to authenticate and when to not. When do you reach the point of luxury, and when do you reach the point of non? Like, obviously, high-end mall brands are not going to get you like flagged because nobody's like copying Abercrombie and Fitch or whatever. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't know.
It's
But
Yes.
I have no idea. But nobody's copying that. But wonder where that line is, like in authentication. Is there any brands that you can come to mind? I know like Chanel and Coach and Dooney and Burke.
It'd probably be
Things like Lululemon and Skims and things like that.
Well, I don't know if they're faked. If they are, they'd probably be really crappy looking. But Lulu is pretty easy because you can find a little logo on it. And it doesn't even sell as much as it used to because there's other activewear that's more popular now. And I learned that too. So, you can pick up Lulu and it might not sell for maybe like, $15 or something. Because now everybody wants Viore or Aloe. That's the hotter, trendy, like activewear stuff. So, I don't know if Lulu was faked, but if it was, I think it would look pretty bad.
Yeah, I remember you coming to me at the bins and showing me a Viore. I think it was Viore, right? Was it
I think I've found one every time I've been, at least one piece.
Right. And she was like really excited and she was showing me. I was just like, Marcy.
You're like,
I was like, that's great. I was like, that's great. I love that for you. I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was excited because it's
I know. It's great. I love the excitement.
$100.
I love the excitement that you came to me and shared that, because there's something secret. One of my hidden toxic traits that I really don't talk about often. I would love to be a reseller of clothing.
Really?
Because it's so lucrative. That's the goblin in me. Don't judge. Okay.
I don't know if I can see you digging through those bins for clothes, Bob.
Well, this is the thing. I want to be so successful at the other stuff that I can actually hire people to do that, much like Caleb does in wholesale.
I like that.
That's exactly. So that's exactly what he's done. Is he talked about, just talking to the people, because when you're there as often, I don't know how often he used to be there. He probably used to go there quite frequently when he was doing this on his own, and you get to know these people, and you start having conversations, and then it's like, hey, I'm reselling on this platform. I want to buy from you. Because there's people there that's all they're doing is sourcing and selling it to somebody. They're not listing it themselves. They don't want to take the time to do that. They just want the quick flip. So like, say they might sell it to him for $3 to $5 a piece or something like that. I don't know what they sell it for, but it's cheap because, he's got to keep his costs down too. But these are the people that are there like just about every day. Like that's what they're doing all day long, is just picking up clothes and then selling them to somebody else. So it's just a matter of talking and having those conversations. And I consider that as well. Like you said, it would be easy just to make a connection with a couple of people, make it, a time and a place to meet, and you go and find out what they got for you, grab those pieces, you're done, and then you can go sell them on Whatnot.
It's a genius business plan. Yeah, for sure. So, Marcy, we're getting near the end of the podcast, but before we go, we normally open things up for chat, and I'm not sure if there's anybody that has a question for Marcy, but we just wanted to pose that out there while we're finishing up. I want to talk about goals while we wait for those questions. Goals for you this coming year for 2026. I know that you said you want to be more intentional about your business and grow it. What does that look like for you?
Well, that's why I've been tossing around the Whatnot thing, because I was like, I've already upped my sourcing as far as the amount of time going, and it might shift. I don't know what's going to happen when spring, summer hits, when yard sale season starts. I don't know what that's going to look like for me. I try not to I keep my weekends open. I don't source on Saturdays and Sundays, even though that's like big yard sale day. I don't. Most yard sales now are happening on Thursdays and Fridays. Usually that's the first day, Thursday or Friday. So if I want to hit a yard sale, that's when I'm going to go. So I try to keep Saturdays and Sundays free. I'm home with my family, or if my husband, we want to go out for a date day on Saturday, that's my priority. So even though it's like, that seems backwards for a reseller, it's not when you see that, the way yard sales are shifting, and when you have a bins nearby, that just makes it easy. So I've already started ramping up the sourcing part. Now it's also a thing of making sure I'm picking up good stuff. And that's what Caleb always tells me. He's like, give yourself permission to leave stuff behind. If it's not the right value, if it's not something that's desirable, that's not selling, look up comps. Don't even take it unless you looked up comps first. So I'm trying to be more disciplined with that as well, so that all I have is good stuff. Because he said having bad stuff in your store kind of clogs up everything for your sales. He goes, then you might have 1,000 things, but half of it's crap, or whatever. So it's like, just put good stuff in your store. But that's why I've been just really playing with the whole whatnot idea.
Yeah. I love that for you.
Yeah, because I met this lady there who, she had her cart, and you've seen them. It's literally over, over full of clothes. And she was checking out, and I asked her, how much was that? And I think she said that was $175 or something. And I said, so do you do whatnot? She said, yes. She said, I only do boho style. Like, that's it. So I don't have to pick up certain brands. I pick it up by style. Well, that's easy. Now you're not looking at tags. You're not going, oh, is this Viore, or whatever. You don't have to get that. You just have to get it by style base. And then she turns around and she can make $1,000 on that $175 that she just bought. And I was like, okay, I got to start thinking about this. So that's what got me really thinking, is talking to people like her at the bins who are just buying maybe a certain style or certain styles to do like specific shows that are based on certain trends. So that's the kind of stuff so that's why my whole thing is still morphing as far as what I want to do for 26, because I want to see if I want to test the waters with that type of a method, and still always have eBay. Like, that's not going anywhere, because there's stuff there that you got to put it there, because it's going to sell for more than on whatnot.
Yeah, there's that balance line, and we talked about it on the last podcast. Is like, where does that line really end up, right? Do I set a financial standard? And for me, it's like $25 to $30 is probably not whatnot. It's likely eBay. But then again, I've sold items, and my wife has sold an item for $450 on whatnot. So what do you do with that? Like, it's one of those things. It's like such a question mark, and it really is. It's like so like mind-boggling.
Or you leave it for a little while. If it doesn't sell there, you put in whatnot.
I mean, that's what we're constantly doing, and we're actually. I didn't talk about my week in reselling, but really quickly before we break, my wife, and I say we, but because I'm the logistics, I move things. I pick them up and put them down. But I've been moving lots of totes for her, and she's been doing inventory. And, we have to be intentional about that. So we're preparing through stuff and like kind of getting rid of that, we'll call it noise, that you were talking about, cluttering up the shop, and focusing on average sale price items, things that are going to drive that metric, because it's a super important one to think about. You want your average sale price to be of a higher number, and your goal should always be trying to gain that higher number. Pick up better quality items, like Caleb recommended. Very smart young man. And doing all those types of things. So we're kind of being more intentional with our inventory this year. So that's been my week in reselling. eBay, for the most part, has been slower for us. So it's slowed down quite a bit. But Etsy outperformed eBay for the first time in 3 years of us reselling. Wow. So I will just give one more plug. If you have vintage, consider Etsy. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, if you're we're broadcasting to Spotify on podcasts. So for those that might be listening and hearing this through that avenue, just want to encourage you to consider other platforms. Don't just niche down to one platform. You want to make sure you keep your eggs in multiple baskets just in case something happens along the way. So I love that for you, Marcy, that you're thinking about Whatnot and you're thinking about not not keeping all your eggs in one basket, because I think that's super important. So it kind of works for what my goals are this year as well. And cross listing is top on my list. We use Nifty AI for cross listing. I normally don't plug it every show, but I'll just say that, it's something that you talked about, Poshmark, how it's consuming. Nifty AI can do all that work for you, the shares and stuff. So I just want to, I know it's a financial burden. It's not a cheap tool to use, but it does pay for itself. So just want to encourage anybody that's listening to this to also think about nifty.ai. Code Rocket City will save you 15. Just kidding. Can't help myself. Marcy, get off my back. I'm surprised they're not sponsoring this podcast. Normally they do. Like our last episode. Come on, Nifty, do better. You need to sponsor.
Get on it.
But anyways, so I just wanted to encourage you, give you an encouraging word that I'm glad to hear that that's what your plans are for your business. Always feel free to reach out to us. I know that we're not clothing resellers, but we are. I'm a businessman at heart. I really am, and I love the data analytics of it and all the other stuff that comes with that, which everybody else hates. I'm your guy. So when you have a question in regards to business and what that looks like, feel free to reach out and reach back to us. And you're always welcome on the podcast. I just want to throw that out there too. We appreciate you so much. Marcy is a reseller's reseller. I want you guys to follow Marcy on Instagram. I'm gonna let her plug herself real quick.
Oh, I think it's just, is it just Small Town Girls Shop? But I think it's got underscores.
Yep, we're gonna make sure that you this is your opportunity, because I'm gonna clip this later on, and I'm gonna put it all over social media. So let's go ahead and.
I always forget how it's,
Yeah, that's why it's okay, because I'm gonna clip it all up. It's gonna be pretty. Ready and go.
So it's the small _town _girls_shop.
There you go.
That's how it's listed on Instagram.
Yeah.
Spelled SHOPPE.
Yes, that's right. SHOPPE. The fancy word shop.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so English, darling. I love it. So make sure you guys are following Marcy on Instagram and all the things, and also follow Tennessee_treasures on Instagram. She should. I'm still working on to try to get her an Instagram. Maybe someday. She should. Ashley.
We're gonna get you. We're gonna rope you in.
That's my goal for the end of the year.
At the very least, just Instagram. Facebook is kind of, but Instagram is what everyone's using. So
yeah.
I'm
gonna open an Instagram for Ashley, and it's gonna be like one of those peer social things where I'm just posting for her. And she's just like, "Yeah, guys, look at me go." So I think Ashley, the value that Ashley brings to this podcast are manyfold. She's a wealth of information, a joy to be around. She's a powerhouse on the Whatnot app, all the things. I mean, I can't say enough about her character as a person. Also, Tennessee Treasures, Ellie. If you guys aren't following these two resellers, you really should, because they give you the genuine, authentic article every time, and that's important. When you're first starting up on any platform, you want to find those like-minded people that are going to steer you in the right direction, and these two young ladies will do that for sure. And also, feel free to follow me. I'll be happy to mentor you along the way. I think part of what we're going to do this year also is offer that mentorship to new sellers. That way we can make sure that you're just as successful as we've been over this past 3 years that I've been reselling. And, so that's kind of the agenda for us over 2026. So I'll leave it to Ellie for final comments. Ellie, what do you got? What do you want to say to the people?
Final comments. Hey, well, thank y'all for being here. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support that we get. I'm very glad to be on this podcast with you all. I appreciate the time that we have and the conversations that we have. Thank you, Marcy, for being our first guest. That is
Yay, thanks for
exciting.
having
And,
Woo!
we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, and Ashley, final comments. I would love to hear what you're thinking.
My
What would you
final
like to say to the people that are watching you? Your people of whatnot, your community,
the people of whatnots. If I think the biggest one is don't be scared to ask the question. There's no such thing as a dumb question ever. And that's mine. I just want to be that person for everyone. Like if you have a question, just ask. If I don't know the answer, I will hunt it down. We're going to be doing some different on some of the podcasts, some teaching and training. Y'all taking me back to my roots, teaching and training at my old job. So making sure that we can walk you through different steps. And that's my goal, is I just want to grow the community, be it not just toys and plush. That's where we're at, but try to grow other people as well in other categories.
Yeah, for sure. That episode. When is that episode again, Ashley? Do you have it?
26.
January 26th.
January 26th, 8 p.m. You're gonna want to make sure you meet that podcast, because we're gonna start from beginner level, and then we're gonna have an intermediate and then advanced, and we're gonna roll it all together in a master class. And we have two very smart young ladies that do whatnot all the time to help you along the way. I am but a trained monkey on the leash when it comes to whatnot. I'm just all over the place. If you've ever seen one of my shows, it's comic relief for sure. I try to keep things light and airy. I don't have any structure or rhyme or reason, much like this podcast. It's about everything and everyone and all the things, but mostly about growing. And we want to thank Marcy so much for coming on the podcast and being our first guest. Marcy, thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate you so much. Any final words for the people?
Oh man, I can't think of anything exciting to say, anything inspiring except just get out there and do it.
Heck yeah, get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Get
That's
that bag.
Like,
As the kids say, get that bag.
just have to do it, right? Like that's half the battle is, like I said, I thought everything through my brain. I'm tossing it all around in my head, but at the end of the day, it's just go ahead and go for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we overthink it, so we don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Analysis paralysis is what I call it. Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and get out there and execute. And that's the message for 2026. Make sure that your business is growing and follow along on the podcast. We'd love to help you along the way. And again, thank you to Marcy. Good. We really are grateful for coming on. So we'll go ahead and end it there. I want to remind you, if you can't be good, be good at it. And we'll catch you on the next podcast. Marcy, stick around. We're going to talk to you in the behind the scenes, but we're going to go ahead and end it right now. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching and your viewership. Remember to like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Until next time.